Hi, everybody. My name is Joe Grisafi.
And I'm Sarah Gaston, and today we want to talk about independent filmmaking, do's and don'ts. So, one of the things we frequently gossip about, yes, we do, we gossip about, is when we go on set or we get involved with something or we get invited to do something and the filmmaker is young and inexperienced or old and inexperienced or old and experienced and still just hasn't learned better. And so we want to talk about some things that we see many film directors, mistakes they make, shall we call them?
It can be mistakes. It can just be things they haven't considered important.
Yes.
That affect their talent.
Yes. Well, they affect the whole quality of the production.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I have seen happen on many occasions is that somebody will invite you to be a part of a project long before, even worse, or they'll hold auditions and make you jump through hoops to try to get the part long before they've even gotten a budget, they even have a business plan, they have funding, they have a crew put together, they don't have locations, they don't have any of the logistics in place, and yet on pure faith they say, would you like to be in my movie, or would you like to compete to be in my movie at some unknown time and place in the future, and I don't know where it's going to be or when it's going to be or how much I'm going to pay you, but I'd also like to do your image so that I can get publicity to tell everyone I'm making a film.
There's a lot to that, and you're absolutely right. Casting a film, in my opinion, having done it several times, is the easiest part.
And
of
it
doing
should be
it.
almost the last part of it.
Yes. It being the easiest part is why I think so many young, inexperienced directors jump right to it.
Right.
They feel like they're making a movie now.
Right. And the problem is, it's not really fair to your actors because you could keep them on the hook literally for years. And they're excited and they're out there telling people about it. They may even be convincing relatives to put money in the project. And a lot of times those things don't ever get made. So do us all a favor and leave casting till almost the very end. Wait until you're almost ready to get started. What else should we be aware of?
Well, there's so many things here. What I want to see independent filmmakers do is when they're holding their auditions, I want them to schedule the auditions.
Oh, sweet Moses. Yes.
It's very lazy to just say auditions are at 2:00 on Saturday. Show up.
Yep.
And actors will show up at 2:00, sometimes by the dozens, sometimes by the hundreds.
Yes.
And you make them wait.
Oh, so
for
rotten.
Hours.
So rotten. On that same note, you know what really makes me crazy?
What?
Is when the actors get called to set at the same time as the cast and crew. Here's the thing. On a professional production, crew gets there early because they have to set everything up. So if I show up and there's no place for me to go and there's nothing for me to do, you're just wearing out your actors. Mm-hmm. Joe and I have both had situations, and I've actually had this happen on a professional set as well, where you get called at a certain time just because they want you there. They just want you to be a part of it.
And so again, sometimes it's lazy scheduling.
Right.
It's so easy to say, okay, everyone get there at 8:00 in the morning.
Right.
My part's done. I told them where to go and when to be there.
Exactly.
But
you wear out your actor. And that's the thing. We're human beings and we have a finite of energy to give you. And if you burn it all out by having me sit in my car, for 6 hours waiting to shoot, the product is going to suffer. And ultimately, your name is on it.
It's mind-numbing to sit there with nothing to do. Mm-hmm. If you call your actors in at the same time, but some of them don't work for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours,
right?
They could be brain dead. And I'm thinking of a very specific example of a student film.
I know exactly what you're referring to.
Yes, a very specific example here of a student film I was very excited to be a part of. I had a great character, I had a great role, and had a great monologue, and it was a horror film, and it had a lot of potential. they called me in like it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I was excited to go. And I got there and I waited and I waited and I couldn't. And I finally said, guys, I'm going to go for a drive. And I left the set, which you never want your actors to do, first of all.
No.
Once they're on set, you want to keep them there because who knows what could happen while they're gone.
Right.
But I was safe. I came back and waited and waited.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to my scene until after dark. And I had this 2-page monologue that I had nailed. I had it was ready to go at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
By 10 o'clock at night, when we actually did this thing, I was brain dead.
You had nothing left.
My mind was jello. I couldn't put 3 sentences together. And frankly, I think I looked bad to them, but I was there for like 10 or 12 hours before they did anything with me. So filmmakers, keep that in mind. If your actors are just sitting around waiting, you're not going to get the best performance.
Right.
Stagger those times, if for anything, for that reason.
Yep. Yeah, I got to hop in here.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. This is where it is priceless to get a good assistant director, okay? And really one of the main jobs of an assistant director is to keep things on schedule, which actually, unfortunately, maybe for you guys, means you have to plan your shoot day, right? You have to know what shots you're trying to get, how many pages you want to shoot, what scenes you want to shoot, and a good AD can plan that out for you or plan that with you, but that's going to make sure that you have a better idea of when to call those actors to set because you'll have a plan. I've also been on sets where it's just like, let's just dream up the shots as we go, right? And here's the thing, Steven Spielberg doesn't do that, right? And so if you want to be the best, pay attention to the best. I know so many filmmakers who have never been on a professional set. If you've even been on a local commercial set, you will have an idea of the proper way to run things. But just because you have a great idea and a really nice camera and you have a passion project doesn't mean you don't need to know some things about how this is done in order to have the best product possible. Let's talk about some of the things that we've had happen to us on sets like that, like no place to wait, no snacks, no water. Did I say everything? I think I just covered it.
We might have to do a part 2.
Oh, part
but
2.
Before this thought escapes me,
okay,
we're going to address all that.
Okay.
But first of all, you have to get your actors to set. And it's very frustrating when someone just gives you an address with no other information. And here's why that can be very aggravating.
I had that happen to me.
It happened to me all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes these addresses don't show up on GPS.
Right.
First of all, you should be looking at when you are an actor or a crew, whoever, you're going to set, look up that address before you get in the car. Don't rely on GPS, partially for this reason.
Right.
But I remember a set that was at an office space. Mm-hmm. And it was actually it was actually in my neighborhood.
Okay.
So when they gave me the address, okay, I know where Bissonnet is.
Right.
Well, guess what? Some office centers have like 4 buildings.
Yeah.
Some of those buildings aren't on facing the street that the address is.
Right.
So I'm driving, I think, for 45 minutes on this block trying to find this address, not realizing I was there, but the building I was looking for with the number I was looking for was behind those, out of sight, and faced another street.
Right.
And I was late to set. I was the bad guy.
Right.
Because nobody was specific. No one shared specific information. And Sarah's point about working on professional level films, they have a locations manager that not only gives you the address, but gives you a very detailed map, not only the address, but a visual map there are signs and there are written instructions on this map.
And there's someone that you can call when you, for some reason, can't find it. I want to add something to that because I had a situation where I was given directions, and if you came from one direction, say if you came from east, the street was called Maple, and if you came from the west, the street was called West Cove or something. Completely different street names. So I drove up and down. I think it was 1960, looking for this street that I was told was my exit, Because from a different direction, it's called something else. So they were naming what it was called coming from the other direction, right? So even something like that can happen. And here's the thing. I'm a real stickler about being professional and being on time, but then I'm frazzled and I'm upset and I'm terrified that I'm going to look bad when I've been doing my best to get there. And then again, I'm going to do my best to overcome that. But that's sort of like, you don't want to put your actor through that. You don't want to put your crew through that, because you want to like a fresh, eager, excited person showing up to set.
Right. That's exactly right. When an actor who thinks they're late, a crew member who thinks they're late is going to get there. And they're late by no fault of their own, but it affects their performance.
Yep.
If you're an actor and you get on set and you're like all nervous because you're late and you don't know if you've messed things up,
right?
That's going to affect the performance.
Yeah,
it absolutely is, and directors need to understand that. Producers need to understand that.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about packing your own shoot for actors.
Yes, this is important too.
This is so important, because here's the thing. There's so much beyond your control, but there are a few things that are in your control. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, always bring, and this is really going to get relevant with COVID, right? Always bring your own grooming tools, right? Whether that means some powder, some cover-up, some moisturizer, some sunscreen, because who knows, you might have to shoot outside. They may have a makeup and hair person. They may not. I knew of a woman who went to a set and just assumed she was going to get hair and makeup done, and they didn't have a hair person or a makeup artist, so I guess she just shot as is. But she was assuming that they were going to have this whole, I don't know where she got that information, but she was assuming they were going to have this whole like makeup and hair trailer, right? Which professional productions do have, but a lot of independent productions do not have.
The independent productions don't understand the importance of that. They may not have ever been on a working set to know that's important.
Exactly.
And the point Sarah is trying to make here for the filmmakers is tell your talent if there's going to be a makeup person on set. Tell your talent what the conditions are going to be.
Let them know exactly what they
need. So if you don't have a makeup person, fine. Tell the actor so they show up with the tools he or she needs.
Right.
Actors learn how to do your own makeup.
Right.
So the actors can bring their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because
it's called being hair and makeup ready.
Yeah.
Which means you show up ready to go. Let them know what kind of wardrobe you want.
Real quick on the makeup.
Okay, yeah.
The actors, ultimately, that's what you have on the screen. If they don't look good, your film looks crappy.
Right. It's absolutely true.
So if the actors aren't wearing makeup, they're not going to look good in most cases.
Right. Especially HD. Hello. You don't need to see all my pores. Here's the other thing. If you need an actor to bring wardrobe, be real specific about what you need. I can't tell you. One time I went to a shoot where I dressed in slacks and a nice sweater because it was a stock photography shoot. And this guy was like from England. He was supposed to be some big deal photographer, okay? He didn't give me any wardrobe instructions. He goes, oh, well, I'm going to put you in scrubs because you're going to be a medical personnel and you're going to be running down a hallway with a gurney. Never mentioned it, and I'm in high heels. So I had to call this guy over here and say, can you go get me some tennis shoes and bring them to the set? Another time, I was told there was going to be a scene where I was with my husband at a hotel and we were getting ready for bed. And they just said like a t-shirt and some, like sleep pants, right? So I had that. And they're like, do you have any like really nice silk pajamas? And I said, yes, I do. At home. And it's just frustrating because it's like actors are pleasers by nature. We want to do well and we want to look good, and I don't just mean, from a vanity standpoint, but we want to look good like we did a good job. But if you don't communicate with us what you want, then that's on you.
Absolutely right. Communication is so, so important.
Yeah.
What about food? On a real set, on a professionally run set, there is food. The cast and the crew understand that when they get up in the morning, they can go to set and there's breakfast for them.
Yep.
And when I say get up in the morning, that could be in the afternoon. Breakfast is whatever time the day starts on set. Breakfast could be at 8 o'clock if that's the call time. It could be 2 o'clock if that's the first call time.
And that's part of the incitement. Is that the word? I don't know. It's a nice way to get your actors to set. When you get to set, we'll have a breakfast spread for you.
But it's more importantly, it's so they don't have to think about it.
Yep.
You get up, you go to set, you know there's going to be food waiting. Mm-hmm. If there's not going to be food there, you need to tell your cast and crew to eat something before they go.
There should be food there.
Sometimes there's not.
I know.
But if there's not, you got to tell them, because otherwise they're going to assume, if they're a professional who have worked on a professional level set, they're going to assume you have food there. Right. I don't know how many times I've just made that assumption that, I'm going to work on an indie film, but I can go eat when I get there.
Right.
And I get there and there's nothing.
Yeah.
And then, you don't eat for another 6 hours. So when Sarah said, pack your own shoot, actors, have snacks, ask these questions.
Yeah.
Is there makeup? Is there food?
Yeah.
Is there breakfast waiting for me?
Yeah. Can I just tell you what I take to every set, and it doesn't matter how professional it is? I take 2 to 3 big bottles of water. Okay. Sometimes I will freeze one just to keep the other ones cold. I will take a variety of shelf-stable snacks like nuts and dried fruit, maybe some apple slices, something like that. I take all my makeup. I take all my hair equipment, anything I need for that. I take sunscreen. If I'm going to be outdoors, I'll take bug spray. Not like Raid, I mean off. Let's see. I always take a couple of changes of clothes. Let's see, what else do I take? Oh, I always take something to read, because you're going to have a lot of downtime on set, and they're not there to entertain you. You're there to do a job. And sometimes they're not going to allow devices on set. So if you only use your phone as your, pacifier, you're going to be SOL, because they're going to make you put it away. So I always bring an actual, there are these things called books. You may have heard them. They're from the olden days. Let's see. Oh, toothbrush, straws. Okay. So ladies, if you've got on lipstick, you need a little straw. Okay. Because you don't want to be wiping your lipstick all over the cup or the bottle. Another thing that I do is I'll bring something to throw over wardrobe, right? So if we have a break and I want to have a snack real quick, I'll bring a big shirt or a little something to throw over my wardrobe to protect it, right? So that you don't, spill salsa or whatever on your shirt.
All right. That being said,
yep.
Filmmakers at the independent level bring something to actors can wear over their wardrobe when they do go to lunch.
There you go.
If you have spaghetti and that sauce gets on that shirt, it's on that shirt for the rest of your shoot.
Yes.
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 And just to wrap this part of it up, food for your cast and crew is critical, because when I get hungry on set, it affects your ability to work
Cognitive
and to think.
Ability. Yeah. So hangry.
When I get hungry, I can't remember things.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's that way.
No. A fed crew and cast is a happy crew and cast. For sure. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It just doesn't. It is kind to take dietary restrictions into account. If somebody has a food allergy, you you want to send out a questionnaire ahead of time and say, do you have any dietary restrictions, right? But let people know. That's the other thing. It's, if somebody is trying to eat really healthy and all you have is pizza, if they know that that's all you're going to have is pizza and potato chips, okay, great, you've provided something, you've made the gesture, but then they know that they can bring something else so that they can, maintain their lifestyle.
It's a very bad idea to have pizza every day.
Oh, it is really bad.
It puts you in such a sleepy place.
It does,
It makes you feel heavy.
Yeah. Don't
do pizza if you can avoid it.
Yeah. And of course, honestly, again, with everything that's going on with the pandemic, chances are everything's going to be boxed lunches from here on out. You just won't be able to have, for a while anyway, any sort of, communal food available. Very dangerous.
Something I want to talk about that's not for the actor, a note for the actor.
Okay.
Going back to locations.
Oh, locations.
Parking.
Bathrooms.
Bathrooms and parking. Let me address the parking first.
Sure.
I was in a situation where...
Oh, no, not a situation.
I had a situation where the set was a big house with a huge driveway, and I was the first one to set. We parked in the driveway. I parked close to the house. I think I was the first or second one there. Tangent, they didn't have any food waiting. The producer wasn't there yet, so there was no food or
I
drinks.
think I know which one this
So,
was. Yeah.
back to the parking situation. When I was wrapped,
You were trapped.
I was trapped.
Get it? When you wrapped, you were trapped.
I was the first one in. Everybody else had parked and filled up the yard and the driveway.
Oh.
I couldn't go until at least half those people left. So I was stuck on set for an extra
Bozo
hour and a half
move,
until they wrapped
people.
and people started to leave.
Yeah.
I was so angry because I wanted to go. I was done. I wanted to go home. It was wasting my time. I was on a flat rate.
Yep. Hey, can I talk about one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, always have bathrooms. That is just, I can't talk to you if you're not going to have a bathroom. There's just, just don't.
Rent a toilet if you have an outdoor shoot. It's a must.
You have to, yes. Yeah. If you're going to have a makeup artist, make sure they are a makeup artist. I was on a shoot where we had ladies with different skin tones. I'm very, very fair, and and we were all ranges of pale girl and brown and everything in between. And the makeup artist that they hired, that they were very impressed because she had airbrush makeup kit, right? But the director told the makeup artist she wanted sort of a Desperate Housewives feel. We were all sprayed with this sort of fake tan makeup, which, considering we were filming in spring and we're all wearing like these sleeveless things, like you could see, like, hi, I have a tan face and then a white neck and white everything else. And it was all the same shade makeup, okay? So it was just really strange because for those of us who are fair-skinned, it didn't really match. And we all like ran off to the bathroom and wiped off the makeup. Here was the other issue. She never came back again, and it was a 4-day shoot. So whatever she did on that first day, we would have had to be able to replicate for the shots to match, because the entire shoot, with the exception of a couple of flashbacks, took place over a 24-hour period. So this is what we're talking about. Like, don't put the cart before the horse and think about, like, let me hurry up and cast my actors and put out, a press release about who all is involved, when you're not even thinking things like that, like the consistency. When we worked on Lars the Emo Kid, I was one of the producers, and I came up with these makeup schematic pages, and I put together a binder so that we could track, like, because these were emo kids, right? So there was a lot of makeup going on for both boys and girls. But I had everybody, if there was somebody who did makeup one day for one of these folks, they had to fill out one of these makeup schematic sheets so that if we filmed that character again that same day, the makeup matched, right? And these are the kinds of details that if you don't pay attention to, can really just take out the most well-intentioned script.
Yes.
Project, what have you.
Outdoor shoots.
I can't talk to you. What do you want me to say about
Outdoor and nighttime shoots.
Oh.
Outdoor, nighttime, winter shoots.
Outdoor, nighttime, winter shoots or summer shoots with little or no shelter.
That's my point. We've been on that film many times.
Yes.
If you're going to shoot outside, have some kind of shelter for your talent.
Oh my gosh.
You don't want mosquito bites. You don't want shivering, cold, dangerously cold talent.
Hypothermia, yes.
Yes.
I was on one of those films, and I got to the location, which was in the woods, about 10:30 at night. There was no place to wait. I had to basically sit in my car and rest at my car. And at 5 a.m, I finally said, guys, you're losing me. I've been up basically for 24 hours. If you want to shoot me today, it's got to happen in the next 30 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to go home and we can film again tomorrow or some other day. You just can't do this to people, guys. You just can't do this to people, because here's the thing. That shoot was 15 years ago. I'm still talking about it. You don't want people talking about your film that way. Now, I'm not going to tell tales and say who it was, Don Smith. I'm kidding. That was a fake name. But you don't want people talking about your project.
Yeah, you don't want to
way.
be that crappy film that people talk about 15, 20 years later. I have those too. And
they will.
And when I see people that were on those films, that's the connection point. That's what we talk about. Oh my God, do you remember that?
Right.
How horrible that was?
Right. And here's the thing. Assuming you learn your lesson and you shoot another one, by that time, everybody's talked about it so much, nobody wants to work with you, and you're going to have to get an entirely new gaggle of people because they know what you did last summer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. People remember. And one thing that baffles me...
Actors are elephants.
One thing that really baffles me is there's people that we know that have made 5, 6, 7 films, have never worked on anyone else's film, so they think they're doing it right.
Right.
And they're doing everything as far as organization goes. They're doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
But they finished some films, so of course they must be brilliant and they're right, and that's the way to do it. Well, go work on other people's films and see how it's really done.
Go work on a professional project. Right?
Yes, and if you're a young filmmaker, if you're a new, when I say young, I mean new. It doesn't matter your age, but if you haven't done this before,
you can be 60.
Right? If you have no experience, get on someone else's set of any level, the professional level, the independent shoestring budget level. Get on that set in any crew capacity, or if you're an actor, pay very close attention when things go wrong, because that's when you'll learn.
Yeah.
When the shit hits the fan, when everything starts to fall apart, you keep your mouth shut and your ears open and see how people deal with it.
Right.
When things are going right, everything's invisible.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When you're watching a really great movie, all the technical stuff is invisible. Same thing on set. When everything's going the way it should be, it's smooth and it's invisible, if you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't do their job, when something falls apart, then you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know very well when something's wrong.
And I always know which type of set I'm on based on how I feel when they call a wrap. So if they say, oh, we're wrapped for the day, or that's a wrap on Sarah, and I'm like, I don't want to leave, and I kind of take my time getting my stuff because I like everyone and I want to stay, that's the sign of a well-run set. If I'm like, get me the out of here, that's a wrap on Sarah. Thanks, everyone. You were great.
And you see the smoke behind her and the door shape, her body shape in the door.
Right. Then you know that wasn't the world's best experience. The other thing I will say too is for directors, I would recommend being an extra on a professional set. Here's why. And I say this for student actors as well. Being an extra is a no pressure way to get a free education in how things run. Right? So it is pretty easy to get on as an extra on something professional, but it is an opportunity. You will learn so much because you really don't have anything to do but sit there all day and eat snacks and maybe take a nap and then just kind of watch what's going on. But you'll get an idea about how things ought to be run. And even at that level, you will see better and worse manifestations of that. And it's all so incredibly valuable, so that when you're in a position where you have a little power and it's your project, you're going to know how to treat people. You're going to know how to organize your day. You're going to know how to organize the shoot. And you'll save yourself years of heartache and potentially a really bad reputation and even worse product.
And here's the thing about reputation. Budget aside, if you have a budget, no matter what your reputation is, you're going to be able to get people to work with you.
That's true.
But if you don't have a budget, like most of the films I've worked with that I've directed don't have budgets, your reputation is all you have.
Yeah.
And if you can't pay people, if you can only pay them a tiny bit, gas money or so, but you have a good reputation, you are very likely to get those people to come back.
Right.
Get new people because those people that had a good experience with you shared it.
Right.
And people will come to you, when you call and say, hey, I got this role. Will you play the dog parlor lady? And Joe returns a video. I can't pay you. Yes, I will be there, Joe, because I know you're going to finish this.
He paid me very many dollars for that role. No, but it's absolutely true. And the thing about it is, once you blow your reputation, so hard to get it back, so hard to get it back, so hard to get it back.
Yeah, like Sarah said earlier, if you blow your reputation, you have to wait till almost a whole new generation of actors and filmmakers come around who don't know who you are and what you did.
Right.
How many filmmakers do we know that have left town because their reputations were so bad?
Oh, yeah.
And they go to a new town and start over because nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's eventually going to catch up with you, and that's what karma's for.
Yeah.
And the interwebs. Anyway, that went dark.
So let's bring it up. How can we bring that up to a more positive note to wrap it up?
Yeah. Let's just say that, everyone starts somewhere, and we want you to make your stuff, and we want you to get it out there. But there's a smart way to do it, and there's a less smart way to do it, and I vote for the smart way.
The smart way is the right way. And just remember, if you walk away from anything after watching this video, you got to keep your people happy and informed.
Yeah.
And fed. You do all of that.
Communication.
And their chances are they're going to enjoy that. Informed, fed, and comfortable.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. I remembered what I was going to say. They will talk about it, and in a good way. If you treat them well and it's a good experience, when the time comes when you really want to promote the film, they'll be happy to promote it. They'll be happy to talk about it. And boy, you can really spread the word really, really quickly that way. They'll want to share it on their social media, and you will just exponentially extend your reach in terms of that. You don't treat them well, they're not going to want to have anything to do with it. They're probably not going to want to have anything to do with you. And that's potentially going to cost your film because you have far fewer people who are going to be willing to promote it for you.
That's absolutely right.
Oh, can I say one more thing about that?
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. My very last thing. Give credit to everybody involved. Nobody makes a film alone. They just don't. It's a huge team full of people. And it's really, I think, very unkind and very ungenerous for a filmmaker to say, look at my film, look at what I did. No. If you've ever watched an award show, you see that they think like a million people, and then they run out of time, and then that little guy plays his song because they want you to get off stage. Because nobody does this alone. This is a very collaborative endeavor, and this is another way that you can either make or break lifelong professional and personal relationships. And that is, are you generous with giving credit to everyone involved, or do you try to hog the spotlight for yourself? And let me tell you, no good will come of that.
No good will come from hogging the spotlight.
No.
You want your actors to promote it when it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want your cast in for the long run as long as they're willing to promote it. And like Sarah said, if they have a good experience with it, they will stick around a while and talk about it.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
And you need that.
Yep.
Unless you got a big budget and can afford a publicist.
Yeah. And they will show up to promotional events when we can have those again. They will, gosh, I've been to so many cons, as in a Comic-Con. I've been to cons, I've been to film festivals, I've been to panels, I've gone to publicity photo shoots. I've done so many things for free on my own time to promote projects that were well done and where I was treated well. And that's not, often that sort of thing isn't paid, right? But if I have good faith in the project because of the way that I've been treated, then I'm going to want to repay that in kind by making sure the film's a success.
Yes. One last thing while we're talking about this before we wrap up this video.
Mm-hmm.
If you are fortunate enough to get a celebrity of any level in your film,
A name.
Do not forget your local cast. One thing we've seen over and over again is a filmmaker gets a celebrity, Eric Roberts or someone in their film, and suddenly all of their promotion becomes about the celebrity, and they forget that all these local people helped make this film.
Yeah.
That celebrity is not going to go out and talk about your film.
No.
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 I should say rarely ever will they. If it's a little low budget thing, they're not going to go talk about it.
No.
All your local people, well, maybe not deny it, but they're not going to think they're going to take your money and run.
You can't use whiteout on IMDb, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of your local actors will continue to talk about
Yep.
your film if they've had a good experience
Right.
and they feel appreciated.
Yeah.
And to feel appreciated is, first of all, taking care of them on set,
Right.
but also talking about them when your film is done.
Acknowledge
Acknowledge
their
them,
contribution.
tag them in your post.
Right.
Highlight an actor a day
Yep.
when you talk about your
Right.
film.
Oh, yeah.
If someone highlights me and I'm in their film, I'm going to share that on
heck yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
on Twitter, on
Gotta
wherever.
Get your film's name out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just to add to that, yeah, and here's the thing. The whole point of bringing in a name is to just have a name attached. So maybe you fly that person in and they work one day, but you've got some local actor and maybe they got paid really, really well, okay? But you bring in some local actor who maybe worked on it for a month, okay? And maybe you paid them little or no money, and then you never mention them because you're too busy mentioning Eric Roberts or Michael Biehn or J.D. Peck or whatever guy you got in there, and you
Yeah.
ignore all the local people who put in way more time and effort. That's just uncool. Don't be uncool. The
Again.
Billy Goat says, don't be uncool.
And that goes back to your reputation. If you
Yeah.
have a reputation for promoting your actors, actors are going to want to work with you.
Yeah.
It's fine to promote your celebrity. That's what you paid for. Do not forget the locals.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are going to talk about it the most. Their reach may not be as far as that celebrity, but combined, your local talent can reach a lot of people.
Yeah. And here's the thing. This is a business of relationships. You know, today's local actor may be tomorrow's, series regular. And, at that point, don't go back to them when you've treated them badly in the past and start wanting favors or expecting them to sort of bring you along for the ride because you didn't earn that trust. You didn't earn that relationship. So just understand that people remember relationships are so integral to this, and nobody's disposable. You never know who's going to be the dark horse, who's going to come up the rear, and all of a sudden you're going to be left out in the cold because you were kind of a douche before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a technical
Yes,
term we use on set.
That is, you look up in the film glossary, douche.
Yeah.
One who doesn't support local actors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
One final thought. I'm going to keep it brief.
He keeps saying it's that bad.
I know. We can. And one more final thought. If you're like saving it,
PPPPS.
saving your program. Final, the real final.
Yeah.
Give your actors their footage. Don't make them wait. Your film is not so precious. They're not going to spoil it. No one's going to spoil your movie by putting a clip out there.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you really want to safe keep your footage, okay, have them sign a contract, right, that says I will only use my clip for my demo reel or something like that. And I won't identify what it's from. But don't just hold on to it for, what was it?
Oh, years.
8 years, 10 years.
But real quick, I want to let the filmmakers know about this. The professional actors are probably a part of Actors Access and casting networks and professional casting sites like that. If they put their clips on that site, only casting directors can see it.
Yes.
And a lot of filmmakers don't understand that. You can give the actors their footage, but you can be specific and say, these are the sites it's okay to put on. You cannot display it publicly, but Actors Access is not a public forum. Casting networks, Casting Frontier, these are not public sites.
Yeah.
That clip goes on there when a casting director is looking for more work from that actor. They can watch that clip.
Yeah.
It's not going to be found in some random YouTube search.
No.
It's not going to be bootlegged. Let the actors put their clips on casting networks and professional sites like that as soon as you can. that could be very valuable to the actors, especially if the actors are new.
Yeah.
And that will give you many, many points, many reputation points
Right.
with those actors, and they will talk about, hey, Joe Schmo gave me my footage right away, and now casting directors are watching it, and it's very valuable. We do this for the footage.
Right. And here's the other thing.
And the money.
And the money. Here's the other thing. Say, your shoot takes a while, right? And you're not giving your actors any reason to stick around. What keeps them from walking, right? If you give them their footage, you're at least giving them some sort of reward for the work that they're putting in. What happens when that actor just says, forget this, I'm not getting anything out of this? They take a hike, and then you have to completely reshoot all of their scenes because, again, you didn't treat them well in the front end.
Just remember, the actors hold a lot of power. We don't exercise it, but yes, we can walk from a project and shut your whole thing down and make you start over.
Yep.
That's very extreme, but we have seen it happen.
Yep.
We've both seen that happen from, not to us, but we've been on films where that's happened.
Yeah, and if you think that your film took a year to shoot, now it's going to be 3 or 4 years because then they'll start dropping like flies. I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I think really that's it now.
It's got to be it.
If there's something else that comes up, we'll do another video.
Billy Goat says, that's it.
All right, guys. Thank you for sticking through this. We really enjoyed this talk. Like and subscribe to our channels if you enjoyed this, and please share. And
please share.
Thank you.
And stay safe.
Yes.
Wash your hands. Stay well. We love you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.